She's got blood. She has heat, obviously anger in copious amount. She has danger. She has war, disease, protection, vitality, and restoration. So her red isn't merely a decorative choice. This burns, it's infections, it's all the things that she embodies as this nectar. So she represents a terrifying truth that the same forces capable of preserving life can also destroy life. That's Sekhmet. She's a lot of that in one. She's a contradiction. Now, we know her as this very powerful lion goddess, she who is powerful, or the powerful one. She's associated with the scorching heat of the sun, war, destruction of enemies, bloodshed, and divine punishment, pestilence, epidemics, and disease. She's also associated with medicine and healing, protection of the king and the cosmic order, the dangerous power of Ra. She manifests that burning power. That's who she is. Now, she's normally depicted as a woman with the head of a lion or wearing this solar disc and the rays cobra known as the Urus. All right, the solar disc identifies her as a daughter and manifestation. That's the important part of Ra, while the cobra represents her divine authority and the power to strike enemies. So the lion is the ideal form of Sekhmet. She's the powerful hunter. She's a very fierce protector of the young. She's capable of sudden, coordinated violence, right, with no rational thoughts behind it. Sekhmet carries all three qualities. She is the hunter, she is the mother, and she is the divine defender. Now, her role as the manifestation of the Eye of Ra, she's not simply like his physical eye. She is an extension of his power, the force through which the solar deity could observe, defend, punish, and destroy, so she could manifest at that level. So when Ra's authority on the order of creation was threatened, man, she went to work. The eye was sent into the world as a divine weapon. That's purely what she was. So she could handle it all, man. She weaponized the solar form, and it's sunlight that transformed into judgment. She was not playing around. So ordinary sunlight produces warmth, light, and life. Well, Sekhmet represents the same sun intensified beyond what any humans could tolerate. So you're getting heat stroke, drought, fever, fire, and death, all the bad stuff of it. And she goes about, man, with this mission to teach mankind a lesson. And she's not simply a goddess who uses fire, right? That's not what she is. She's not like, I'm just going to use some fire. She is this embodiment of that. She is a level of destructive potential. That's who she is. That's what she manifests. So when we read about her, like you can read about her in the book of the Heavenly Cow, and there's a story about her in which when she set it off on mankind. And this is the thing about this type of flame, about this type of fire, about this type of nectar goddess right here. When she was sent to punish those rebels, when Ra got challenged and she was sent out to punish, she started slaughtering humanity, right? Just slaughtering people, right? And once she started, she couldn't stop. And she became like just out of hand. None of the gods, like people were stepping to her and she was like, yeah, whatever. If I were you, I'd mind my own business. Like essentially, right? Even Ra himself stepped to her and she was like, nah, I'm just going to keep on killing people. So they had to literally get her drunk off of beer. They dyed beer red to make her think it was blood. So she would drink it and they got her drunk. So she becomes known after that. She chills out, probably feels a little ridiculous after it, but she becomes known as the Lady of the Bright Red Lantern, right? Or she is the mistress of the red linen. And that could be about her solar nature and her association with Lower Egypt, her warlike identity, and the blood of defeated enemies. So she was rich in blood. She carried that. She had a war and divine punishment aspect about her. This was that, she was not like represented war strategy. She represented physical consequences of war, like burning heat, panic and confusion, open wounds, blood-soaked grounds, right? Epidemics and disease. She represented all these aspects, like the collapse of the resistance. And Egyptian kings would invoke her as a natural force against, behind their military victories. She was the fire directed against the king's enemies and the terror that would precede his arrival. So she was deep. She reminds me of Apollo in a couple of ways. She was all about plague, disease, fever. Says she had authority over epidemics and infectious disease. So disease could be understood as expressions of anger. Fever was particularly incompatible because of her solar nature. Yeah, it's burning you up, right? So the body becomes hot, weak, dehydrated, overwhelmed, almost as if a fragment of the desert has entered into the body, right? That's kind of what they represented. And dangerous supernatural agents were sometimes called the messengers of Sekhmet, and they would carry illness they would shoot as arrows. They would strike at the body with all these various illness. So this puts a lot behind Sekhmet in terms of like that burniness, that redness. But she's also at the same time a goddess of healing. Like she could remove illnesses, she could remove fever and its cooling. She could close wounds. All the stuff that she was just against or for a minute ago, she's completely flipped it. So we know her. She's a very powerful deity. She becomes part of the Memphite triad. That's an important thing to know. That is with Ptah, that is with Sekhmet, and that is Nefertum as the sun. And this is a very, very powerful triad when they're grouped in this fashion. There's a lot of statues about Sekhmet. If you just look around, like in lots of the exhibits that move around, you can see some good Sekhmets. There's a couple of places at Karnak, and they're highly identifiable about Sekhmet. So with her, you can see all those things that blood represents under her line. And she is like red